Hello, good morning. Want to point out some policies, defective policies employed by the federal government in regulating the Nigerian economy, especially the exchange rate of the naira with respect to the American dollar. In any given economy, there is always a macroeconomic system, and this macroeconomic system must be in a state of equilibrium. We say a macroeconomic system is in a state of equilibrium if all the variables contained in the system are in their desired level, desired economic or possibilities. The various components, variables, making up the macroeconomic system of any economy are inflation, exchange rates, balance of payments, full employment or unemployment, economic growth or income growth, the GDP, that gross domestic products, etc. There are more than this, but these are the basics, some of the basics. In a stable economy, all of these variables must be in a state of equilibrium. The entire system must be in a state of equilibrium. Any policy adopted for regulating an economy must focus on all of these variables because one cannot move without the other ones moving. You cannot manipulate one without manipulating the others so as to have a sustained macroeconomic stability. Look at Nigeria, where the federal government is trying to manipulate the exchange rate of the naira in relation to the American dollar. You cannot manually manipulate one macroeconomic variable at the expense of the others because it is a system. It's a system, the stability of which is determined by um, good monetary and fiscal policies. Credible fiscal and monetary policies must be put in place to continue to have a stable macroeconomic environment. The process by which the Nigerian government is trying to manipulate the value of the naira in relation to the American dollar does not work. The system is a dynamic one. All these variables are in a dynamic system. One cannot be moved without moving the entire system, without touching all the variables in the system. And that is why the federal government increasing the supply of the dollar, thereby or reducing its value in relation to the Nigerian naira can never be sustainable. At best, it can be described as a temporary or measure because leaving the other variables untouched will result in a situation where they will reverse they will reverse whatever level of the exchange rate being attained through a mere manual manipulation of the value, the supply of the American dollar in relation to the Nigerian naira, thereby reducing the value of, making the value of the naira appreciate against the value of the American US dollar. When one of the public commentators was asking Nigerians to keep their dollars when the exchange rate was falling drastically due to the manual manipulative measure of the federal government, people thought she didn't know what she was saying. The system will revert back to its former state of equilibrium if all of them are not affected, all of them are not carried along, or all of them are not impacted by whatever whatever macroeconomic policy vis-a-vis fiscal and monetary policy being put in place by the federal government. That is what very many people don't know. But as economists, we know that there can be no sustained or the artificially manipulated value or exchange rate of the naira can never be sustainable, because the invisible hands, when I say invisible hands, the state of the other macroeconomic variables that are not carried along in the policy making process, the policy reducing or increasing the value of the naira, was not focused on the remaining macroeconomic variables. For instance, inflation cannot be spiralizing, and you see the value of the Nigerian naira will increase or appreciate against the US dollar. So long as inflation is galloping, the value of the naira will depreciate the moment the manipulative or method of the federal government, the manual manipulation of the value of the naira in relation to the US dollar by the federal government, the moment it stops inflation, unemployment, interest rates, level of poverty, etc., balance of payment, all of them will work together and reduce whatever increase in the value of the naira in relation to the American dollar and the US dollar, resulting from the corruption of the system. The federal government policy itself, by manually manipulating the value of the naira and the US dollar, is a corruption of the macroeconomic system of the Nigerian economy. And such corrupt economic manipulation will never stand, can never be sustained. It can never lead to what is called macroeconomic stability, which every economy must strive to achieve. All the other variables must be in their expected level. That's why in economy they will also tell you all things being equal. It means whatever policy you put in place will only work if the other variables are in their desired level, in order that all the other variables will have equilibrium, will be in equilibrium with the other variables. So we may not really expect much from such artificial fiscal and monetary policies that are not founded, the foundation of which is not supported by economic theory. When you're manipulating one macroeconomic variable at the expense of the other, such a policy is not known to economic theory. It's not. All of them must be carried along. It's a dynamic system. All of them will take a flight, all of them will move, and they move together dynamically to another macroeconomic equilibrium, which might either be better than the former equilibrium or worse than the former equilibrium, based on the effectiveness of the policy being put in place by fiscal and monetary authorities.